5 days? That's it. I was lucky enough to get in.
Before
and Denny Zeitler was, the fabulous pianist.
So he was your resident.
He was my advisor, and when I quit to go with Herbie, he said, "How did you do that?" He said. That's what I wanted to do, but he was too entrenched in his medical practice, teaching at the medical school, in his pride. He just couldn't tell his patient, okay, I'm going on a tour for 6 months.
It was a magical time because he did a lot of work at the Trident, and
absolutely.
He's a badass. But he
is badass.
But let me ask you just before we wrap here. I don't want to be in the doldrums about music. I definitely know that I'm on a sacred journey towards enlightenment, trying to inspire people. But what is in your mind the silver lining as it relates to melodic and improvised music as you see it today? And you guys are not getting any younger, but you're still here. You're still teaching.
Yeah.
But what in your mind? What is what keeps you going? Because, like you said, there are not readily available answers for some of the crises that are facing group music.
This is what is the silver lining? Well, I think the silver lining for me was for me to say, people say, well, you could make more money being a doctor, but quite frankly, happiness is priceless and not for sale. One thing, and I could, quite frankly, I make more money now than I did when I was being a doctor, to tell you the truth, and being a doctor. However, I never had malpractice, because the guy I was working for, he just, he put me in a position where he would let me go and come as I pleased when I got tours, and so it was like the ideal medical job, and I would have never found something like that anywhere else. But he afforded me the luxury of just coming to the office 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, with no hospital responsibilities, and he let me go and come as I pleased. So
in terms of younger cats, though, happiness is not something you can buy. So
no.
Would you say to peeps, just play for free, do what your soul is telling you to do, go and do the insecure path if you really have that calling? It's for music.
Yeah.
Is that what you?
Yeah.
Or because a lot of cats now they're like, well, I just got my nursing degree, and I'm making $12 a month playing sax, so I got to go get into something a little bit.
Yeah, well, I totally understand that. I think my case is the special case. I was lucky, so to speak, when Herbie Hancock gave me that offer to play for that first week. That doesn't happen to everybody. It was serendipity, I guess they call it.
There are no coincidences, so it's definitely serendipity.
Yeah. And I was at the right place at the right time. I knew Herbie before that, but all we talked about was sports cars.
Right.
And when he heard that I played, he said, "Oh yeah." He didn't believe it, and then one thing. And after playing with him, just by virtue of playing him, all my other heroes like Art Blakey, Max Roach, Dexter Gordon, Joe Henderson, Roy Haynes, McCoy, by virtue of me playing with Herbie, they took it for granted. Well, your credentials are you played with Herbie. So just that one little door open, boom, changed my whole life.
And then, speaking about this, you go for younger peeps if they're getting into a group, the selflessness of the group context. You had that your first record for Capricorn. You talk about how much the budget it was made on and what those cats did.
The budget was $1,200 for the whole group, to make the whole record. Herbie Hancock, Billy Hart, Lenny White, Buster Williams, Benny Maupin, and Patrick Gleason. It's his studio.
Different fur. $1,200. And those cats, and it was never even a second thought because it was just about let's do this for Eddie.
Yeah, just do it for Eddie because I was in that group. So that was a lucky break for me. And then even the Inside Out, I think the budget was for Capricorn. It was the same thing, But since the first one came out so magnificent, but that was really how Herbie Hancock MWANDISHI group sound live.
Oh, it was. I mean, I play that on breaks on my radio show all the time.
Yeah. And I think
all those astrological signs. You were channeling all of that. Was that the stuff you were reading about? Guys were reading. What were the texts that you were reading?
The texts that we were reading we all had the same books on the road.
Yeah.
You know, spiritual books, autobiography of a yogi, things about the cosmos, spirituality, realms. You know, all for the whole 3 years, we all were pursuing spiritual things. And then I think the last year or so, Herbie got off into the Nichiren Shoshu Buddhism, the chanting. So 3 people out of the 6 did it, Manny Mop and Herbie and Busta, and they all 3 of them still do. But Billy Hart, myself, and Julia Priest did not chant. You know, so it's equally balanced again.
Do you look back on the idea that I mean it's great that they're Buddhists and that they maybe are at peace, but that they moved away from their Swahili names? Do you feel like there was?
Well, but Billy still goes by Jabali.
Absolutely, but Herbie's not. He doesn't go by MWANDISHI anymore.
Well, whenever I call him MWANDISHI, he says, "Oh, go." And then whenever I see Buster, I call him.
Do they look at it as like, oh, that was just so youthful of us, and how playful and how spiritual? Because I mean, now it's like that. You know,
some of them. I think inside they may think, oh, that was then. You know, but since I was part of it, they don't say it to me. You know, but I know Herbie. He doesn't want to be called MWANDISHI anymore. He wants a different name. He's Herbie Hancock. You know, but Jabali, he's always been Jabali.
Just before we go, I was just hip to this animation film called Eddie. Can you talk about it? How it came about and where people can get it?
That was conceived by a student of mine at Oberlin, who was a film major, but he was a secondary trumpet student. He started talking to me about my life. He had heard many aspects of my being a doctor, the figure skater, and he wanted to do a film on me. I said, oh, sure, great. And he did all the animation of himself. And he got an award at Oberlin. It was the best film project that ever was put out of Oberlin by their film students.
Wow.
And then he called me a month or so ago and said it was accepted at these two international film festivals.
This is just back in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's being shown at film festivals, and it most likely will come out in a DVD format or something along those lines.
I think so. Did you get the link? Did my wife give you the link?
Not yet. But don't worry. Before we wrap, it does cover all your accomplishments as a figure skater.
The figure skate, and the way and it's got a picture of me sitting in a car with Miles Davis, telling you some of these stories that I told you about. Miles and he animated me figure, and it actually looks like me the way I used to skate, you know, and then it has me. With that stethoscope on.
So it touches on all the facets of the doctor.
Then it also shows my mother. Did you ever see that video of Fats Waller, Ain't Misbehavin'?
Mm-hmm.
A real pretty lady sitting on the piano singing Ain't Misbehavin' to Fats Waller. Well, that was my mother. That's the opening. It's showing my mother. And then my real father was in this singing group called the Charioteers, the number one Negro singing group in America, over and above the Ink Spots and the Mills Brothers.
Wow.
And he was like on the Bing Crosby. In fact, Frank Sinatra sang 2 songs with the Charioteers. Well, he was in show business too. Well, it's got them a film of my father's group. He was in the movies also.
Sinatra, man, unbelievable. And did you ever go on the Chitlin circuit, or were you too young?
I never went on the Chitlin circuit. My first time on the road was with the MWANDISHI group.
Dr. Eddie Henderson, thank you for inviting us into your place. Pleasure. It's always good to hang with you, man. Nice to meet you, man. All right. Peace. Pleasure.